Paper Flowers, Chapter 13. Introducing the site. "Are you sure?" Roman asked as he and Virgil oversaw Thomas getting ready to film the first episode of Thundersides. "Yes, you don't need an antagonist for something that might be a one-off anyway," Virgil shrugged as he considered the camera test before they started on the episode proper. Maybe they'd best read through the script one more time as well, to see if Thomas needed to make any changes. "You don't have to be the bad guy though," Roman whispered gently, so that even Thomas would realize it was said. Virgil just shot him a resigned look. Clearly he disagreed. This was not the first time they'd had this conversation, and the chances of Virgil changing his mind on the matter had been very low. Still, Roman felt the need to try. Well, if Virgil insisted, then Roman would do his best to make him as beloved as he could. Maybe Virgil would change his mind if he saw that people liked him even when he was trying to get them to hate him. "My true identity, Thundersides," you read curiously. "The new video title has you intrigued. YouTube recommended the video to you because you watch a lot of Thomas's Vine compilations and the like, though you'd never before actually looked on his YouTube channel. Still, Thomas was funny, and the video was less than 6 minutes, so it wouldn't be a huge waste of time if you looked at it and didn't like it in the end. You click on the video and get settled. At first it looks like Thomas is about to have a philosophical monologue. The introduction feels very sophisticated and serious. But then, Teacher pops up? Except he represents Thomas's intellect now. You let out a small squeal when Prince shows up too. Do you have a favorite? Maybe. Is Prince being Thomas's fanciful creativity absolutely perfect? Definitely. Have all those crossovers been leading up to this? If so, then that meant... When that gets introduced as the moral side, you are thrilled. Sure, Thomas said that this was the last one, but maybe Marcus will make a surprise appearance. It would be so fun to see him interact with all the others and Thomas this way. The discussion progresses, and you find yourself laughing and awing at the screen. Every time the music intensifies, you are holding your breath, sure that Marcus is about to pop up and start some fun banter with the prince and the others. Sadly, that moment never comes. Still, it was very fun. You hope this isn't a one-off. You like and comment. "In love with the Thundersides, can we have more please?" You scroll through the comment section and it seems that everyone agrees that this was fun, though many demand justice for Marcus, Gavin, Nemesis. Then you get a notification from Tumblr. Midnight Princess has posted something. You click on the notification and are taken to a shared video link. Nemesis' secret cameo in the Thundersides video. What? Surely you would have noticed. Curious and fairly sure you are being clickbaited, you tap play. The screen shows a photoshopped picture of Nemesis and Prince crossing their blades. Okay, hear me out. If you've seen the Thundersides video sometime in the last 8 hours, then you recall this moment. And the screen cuts to Thomas. And that is when the anxiety kicks in. The image pauses. This moment is followed by a cut to every side. First Dad, then Prince, then Teach. Now Dad and Teach just nod and look downward. Prince does something different though. I'll show it and slow it down. You watch very closely, and indeed, while Prince starts out nodding and looking down, his eyes dart across the room, landing on something to his left. Did you see it? He looks around the room before focusing on his left, or right. That is where I believe the staircase is located. The staircase Teach is standing next to. The staircase that was empty in previous shots. But, if you look closely, and when the clip plays on to show Teach nodding, you see that there is a hoodie draped over the railing. You'd have to go back to check, but if it was indeed empty before, and if you recall it right, this was the moment when the music became darker. We all know who this hoodie belongs to. I believe that Nemesis will be introduced in a future video. And I believe that he will represent fear, or even, Thomas shows up again, just a bit of him saying, anxiety. But what do you guys think? You hope they are right. You love the Nemesis and Prince videos. To have them interact for several minutes instead of a few seconds would be great. You reblock the link and check out the Nightmare Prince tag. It seems this discovery is making its rounds. Everyone is curious to see what role the Nemesis will play. One thing is for certain, when he does join the sites, there will be plenty fan art and fanfics. Virgil was smirking as he scrolled through Tumblr, his headphones on and a smirk on his face. Roman had been knocking on his back door every hour since Virgil had locked himself in his room when Roman suggested reading the comments. Virgil had known he'd most likely get excited, and he'd been pretending to be upset with Roman over suggesting the thing with his hoodie last minute. And he was. A little. Roman had known that such a spontaneous decision would be hard for Virgil to get out of, especially when he was secretly curious how the viewers would react, if they'd notice at all. They had, and they were excited. Roman was probably checking to make sure Virgil was happy with that and not cracking under the pressure. Or maybe he just wanted to say, "I told you so." In the first case, Roman really needed to stop hovering over him so much. It was appreciated, but unnecessary. If it was the second, then Virgil really didn't feel bad making him wait. Virgil had decided to let Roman off the hook. The next time he'd knock. 5th time is the charm in this case. He was kind of impressed that Roman had not gotten fed up with waiting and went to the front door to break it down if needed. Virgil? The abandonment of anxiety jumped as his solitude was disturbed by the presence of Janice. He took off the headphones. "Jeez, Jan, you scared me half to death. What's up?" he asked, a little annoyed. Janice studied Virgil's expression and demeanor closely. "Nothing. It's not like I care about you. And I'm not at all worried when you lock yourself in your room after an argument with Roman," he drawled tensely. Virgil rolled his eyes. "It was barely an argument. I just wanted to ride out the adrenaline of a new video in peace." He was so relieved that the excitement had died down enough for him to mask it. "Virgil," Janice sighed as he set himself on the bed next to him. "If they push you, you can tell me, okay?" You'll what?" Virgil huffed defensively. He hadn't forgotten about Janice's idea of protecting him. "Threaten them into being nice to me again? I'm fine, Jan. I would be even more fine if you didn't interfere with my life." He growled as he crawled in on himself, his thoughts turning down a bad path. "You are so pathetic. Janice knows you are weak. Roman knows it too. That's why they baby you all the time, making sure that poor little anxiety doesn't ruin everything with his stupid fits." He took in a few deep breaths. It wasn't real. Roman had promised him time and again. He didn't fear or pity him. He lied. He just told you what you wanted to hear to keep you happy. Roman doesn't lie. Not outright. He might omit and dodge and distract if he didn't want to answer, but he never straight up lied. "Virgil, I am just looking out for you. You're one of us. They don't get that we don't fit in their world quite so easily. They are stubborn, but I can get them to." "He lies, though." "Shut up!" Virgil growled to both Janice and his own negative thoughts. "I can look after myself. I've been living here for years and done just fine. Now get out of my room and learn to knock." He seethed. When Janice didn't move right away, Virgil took out the key to the meadow. He'd already told Janice about his own corner of the imagination, so it didn't matter if he saw the door. He opened it and stormed through, slamming it shut before Janice could see it. He'd leave on his own if he knew what was good for him. "Virgil?" The dark-clad man looked up from his door and saw that Roman was sitting on a picnic blanket in the meadow, writing something. Virgil walked over and let himself fall face first on the blanket. "Am I correct in guessing that this is not about a hoodie?" Roman asked carefully. Virgil would have kept distance if it was something he did that was bothering him. "I don't care about the hoodie," Virgil confirmed, his voice muffled by the ground. "Then may I ask what is bringing the thunderstorm cloud?" Virgil sat up and quirked a brow. "Storm cloud?" he asked. That one was new. Yes, it fits you quite nicely, I would say. But no changing the subject. The woman smirked patiently. Virgil sighed and curled up. The seat is on my case again. It's like, ever since I found out about his meddling, he's extra protective. It's suffocating sometimes, he complained as he studied the lavender growing next to him. I can see how that would be frustrating. I don't know the seat very well on a personal level. All I know is he's quite charming, he said lightly. The seat had almost always had nice things to say about him, and while Roman knew that he was most likely rarely honest when he complimented him, he chose not to worry about it and just take the compliments if he found them truthful, rather than worry about what the seat's intentions were. He was much happier that way. I guess that's the problem. I don't always trust him to comfort me, even if that's all he wants to do, Virgil confessed. Roman thought about that for a moment. Have you talked about this with him? I know he's the seat, but does that mean he has to lie every other sentence or something? Roman wondered. He doesn't have to, but it's like asking Logan to make an emotion-based decision, or you to drop the extra. You could do it, but it would be hard, especially if he had to do it for a long time. And I get that, but with what I am, it's hard for me to live with, which is why I live up here nowadays. It's just so complicated, Virgil said as he buried his head into his knees. I'm sorry I can't be of more assistance, Roman offered carefully. He didn't know the seat or his bond with Virgil well enough to make any helpful suggestions. It's fine. What did you want to talk about anyway? You have been knocking down my door all afternoon, the younger side smirked as he looked up. Roman let out a scandalized scoff, but soon was carried off into a long rant about the wonderful comments and how excited everyone seemed about the possible future episodes and the chance of Nemesis showing up. Soon the two friends were laughing, and the younger of them actually allowed the theatric one to paint him a picture of a future where he would be a permanent member of the cast, forgetting about his worries for a while.